Hello and welcome to the Jester's Court. Excuse me, right in the intro, messing it up.
hmm
I am your host, Mike, or Jester, and with me, as always, is our co-host, momthulu, or Jennifer.
What the fuck? Did you just call me by my government name?
I know, I love getting that reaction every single time. You probably should call her Jen, or I call her Gwen, but definitely do not call her Mom or Jennifer.
Yeah, that's a quick way to die.
You's gonna die.
Yeah.
How was your week, momthulu?
I had 4 days off this week, so it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. I just, and then yesterday was your birthday.
Was it my birthday yesterday?
It was.
I am the answer to life, the universe, and everything, and I'm okay with that because I just turned 42.
Yes, you did. You're old as shit.
I mean, you're older.
No, I am not.
You have to adjust, for women years.
You have to adjust for my fist in your face.
It's possible. We're okay there. So yes, it was my birthday, and yesterday for my birthday, we went and saw Doctor Strange and ate all kinds of good food.
We did.
We had donuts for breakfast, we had Mexican food for lunch, and then we had Popeyes for dinner. So probably gained 15 pounds.
It was a day of spoiling you.
It was, and um, Doctor Strange was just great.
It was epic.
And then I finally today checked out Strange New Worlds, which I know
hmm
you're not a Star Trek person, but so far I can nitpick. They reused the original series music for the intro,
hmm
and they tweaked it a little bit, but it kind of falls flat.
Oh,
And there are a couple of minor things I can nitpick, but really, it's I'm only halfway through the second episode, but it is very good. It's a return to kind of the episodic Star Trek of old.
hmm
But Anson Mount remains amazing, and he was in Doctor Strange too. So
yeah. You pointed that out to me, and I could not make the connection. Like I kept staring at him, trying to figure it out. He looks so different, like absolutely
well,
different.
he was in a black suit with a fork taped to his forehead.
hmm
That's probably the best dialogue. I'm sorry. Go watch the movie, people, so we can all talk about it. Because on both our shows, we were
It's
like, we want to talk about this show.
super good.
Before we get into tonight's topic, I do want to take a moment and shout out our awesome patrons. We have Mr. Kyle Kier, Derek Diamond, Firebrant, Rob Mann, and Travis, otherwise known as Soda Bread, otherwise known as Terror Squirrel, otherwise known as whatever he pretty much decides that week.
Yeah, that's true.
You were on last week, but I tried to do a little thing and I stepped all over it, so that he was the terroriest, squirreliest soda bread ever.
Oh no,
But I
that's awful.
that slow and intentional way I just said it was even worse than last week, or was better than last week, where I just like all over it.
Oh man.
So
Well,
well,
yeah. Well,
so are you ready for tonight's topic?
I am. Are you ready for tonight's topic?
I think I am, guys. Tonight
Bring
we
it
are
on.
talking about the great. That's right. We're talking about 1996 Mars Attacks, starring pretty much everyone. Like really, who wasn't in this movie? Jack Nicholson, Pierce Brosnan, Michael J. Fox, Natalie Portman, Jack Black, Martin Short. It might actually be easier to say who wasn't in the movie. Uh,
That's it's kind of true, isn't it?
Directed by Tim Burton, and because I particularly like the music, we don't usually bring this up, but music by Danny Elfman.
Yeah. Uh, and honestly, Elfman, he's kind of hit or miss. Like, tell me I'm wrong.
No,
He's kind of hit or miss.
he's not like John Williams, where everything he touches is gold. But
Right.
he has some good stuff. He has some talent when it comes out.
It's true.
This movie made $101 million box office off of a $70 million budget. So not a total flop, but it certainly made less money than the studios wanted. Ratings wise, it's pretty even. Rotten Tomatoes is a 55% critic score, 53% audience score. Pretty lackluster. Basically, people seem to just say meh, and I think that's tragic. So
yeah, and inaccurate because it is not meh.
So we're going to do the synopsis thing, and then we can look at some of the complaints that people have.
All right.
I have to warn you, I did I don't know what I did, but all the notes I took while watching this got deleted. So, warning ahead, this is not my synopsis. This is pulled off of the internet.
Lame.
Well, I couldn't rewatch the movie, so I might stop in the middle of seems like my own words and say, no, wait, we're going to say it this way. But, so, Mars Attacks. When Earth is visited by a massive fleet of flying saucers from Mars, President of the United States James Dean, otherwise known as Jack Nicholson, addresses the people of the United States. Talk show host Natalie Lake and her boyfriend, news reporter Jason Stone, attempt really. See, already I'm going to stop them because that makes it sound like they were working together.
Yeah, and they weren't.
They were not. Jason Stone is very mad that his girlfriend is getting all these interviews. It's basically a fluff interview celebrities reporter. So she is not trying to capitalize on a developing story. She is sitting there with her dog interviewing.
Right.
Pierce Brosnan, the science advisor, who is Donald Kessler in the movie. But that is unexpectedly interrupted by a broadcast from the Martian leader. Ack. I'm sorry, I love that.
Me too. It's one of my favorite aspects of the movie is that they talk they just scream ack at each other.
Yeah, and it's apparently a whole language.
Yeah.
So, see, this skips over. So there's a peace accord or we're gonna meet set up in Pahrump, Nevada. Why I don't know, Pahrump, which sounds like a sound effect.
Mm-hmm.
But as the Martians prepare to land, numerous people around the country react to their arrival, including donut shop employee Richie Norris and his older brother Billy Glenn, who is Jack Black, by the way. And when I watched this movie when it came out, obviously we didn't know who Jack Black was, but you see it again, and it's like, oh my god, that's him.
Right.
You have flamboyant casino operator Art Land, who is Jack Nicholson's second character. His wife Barbara, who's a little bit of a hippie. See, it says that ex-boxer Brian Williams is there, but he's not. He's at the casino.
Right.
And his ex-wife, who is also not there, she's in Washington. This synopsis is horrible.
It's a horrible one.
I would have been better just going off of memory. Seriously, without my notes, I'd have been better just going off memory.
Yeah, probably.
No, we're gonna sludge through and maybe make more fun of this synopsis than we do the movie. Against the advice of the hawkish General Decker, and they call him hawkish here, but really he was the only one who was right. President Dale chooses to greet the Martians as foreign dignitaries, ordering military officer General Casey to welcome them to Earth. Billy Glenn, a private in the U.S. Army, is among the soldiers who volunteers to accompany General Casey as he greets the Martians of Nevada. He's setting up roadblocks and showing butt crack. And despite the translated message from the Martian ambassador stating that the Martians come in peace, they turn on the assembled crowd. Actually, they shoot a bird first because throughout the movie, they really don't like birds.
Right.
And then they attack the crowd with the ray guns, killing General Casey first. Jason and Billy Glenn, who his parents are watching and see him die on TV.
Right.
And they very much like Billy Glenn and not so much. They abduct Natalie and her pet Chihuahua puppy. Kessler convinces President Dale that the Martians attacking Nevada may not have been. So yeah, sorry, I'm reading this crappy synopsis and figuring out where they're going. Even after this, Pierce Brosnan's character Kessler, well, maybe they just misunderstood, and they still want peace. And sure enough, they get a formal apology from the Martian leader, who asks to address Congress. And this is where Martin Short has one of the best lines, because the president's like, well, shouldn't I be there? It's a great photo op. He's like, for some reason, the Secret Service is weird about you being in the same room as the legislative branch.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of foresighting there because they kill all of Congress. They massacre Congress, abduct Kessler, so now they have him as well as the reporter girl. And this leads, it's not in their synopsis, but I'm going to say this. This leads to one of my favorite lines of the movie. You know the one I'm talking about? Where Nicholson, as the president, addresses the people, and he goes, well, you've got 2 out of 3 branches of government working for you, and that's all right.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So Natalie and Kessler, like I said, are being held captive in the Martian mothership. The Martians remove Natalie's head and attach it to the body of the puppy, which is just hilarious.
Yeah, can we talk about how the Martians look on board their ship, though?
Yeah, they're all walking around in their underwear.
They're not walking around in just underwear. They're walking around in fucking Speedos.
Yes. Even the leader who's wearing his cape in Speedos.
Yes.
It's great. It's great.
It's so good.
Great. And yes, they put her head on the puppy and the puppy's head on her. They take Kessler's head off altogether and it's just hanging from a string there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they start to flirt, which is really weird in that scenario, but whatever. See here, the synopsis again. We're just gonna make fun of the synopsis because it goes straight to President Dale narrowly survives an assassination attempt by a Martian disguised as an attractive blonde woman.
Mm-hmm.
This is Miss Presley, who gets in the White House by pretending to basically to be like not a prostitute but interested in sleeping with Martin Short, and just breaks away from him from the Kennedy room, quote unquote, which is this apparently this like smash palace inside the White House. Yeah, she infiltrates the White House by seducing and killing press secretary, which is what we just said. Following the assassination attempt, the Martians commence a full-scale invasion of Earth. What's great is even after that, he's still not full on like let's attack him. He still won't let the general nuke him.
Right.
He's took a perfect like army little like politician. Like we'll see what the other leaders say. But the Martians are commencing a full-scale invasion of Earth, attacking major cities throughout the world, which is one of the best montages. The Martians in front of the Taj Mahal. Do you remember that? And they're like making him, they're placing him so he's like move over to the left, to the right, to the left. Okay, they're not saying this obviously, but right. They take the picture right as they destroy the Taj Mahal in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I just like that scene. The soldiers overrun the White House where First Lady Marcia Dale dies, and by a falling chandelier, and President Dale escapes to the secure bunker. Shortly after, Land is killed when the Martians destroy his casino in Las Vegas, the other version of Jack Nicholson. During a meeting with prospective investors, where all the investors are trying to tell him to turn around, and he's like, 5 more minutes. Give me 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Eventually, Martian soldiers breach President Dale's secure bunker, crushing General Decker after reducing him to a... They shrink him and step on him. Or the general. President Dale makes an impassioned speech attempting to convince the Martians to make peace with humanity. And it looks like it's working for a second. But then the Martian leader kills him with a gadget disguised as his hand when they were shaking hands. And, which turns into a Martian flag sticking out from the president.
Right. It's so ridiculous, though. It's so funny.
In Las Vegas, Barbara... That would be Jack Nicholson II, the not President Jack Nicholson's wife, prepares to flee to Tahoe in Art's private plane and offers Byron to accompany her. They're joined by Tom Jones, who I love Tom Jones in this, by the way.
Yes, yes.
He's their pilot. And Byron's co-worker Cindy and Danny DeVito, who I don't even know if his character has a name. I don't remember anyone saying it. He's basically just there to say stupid stuff.
Right.
So, meanwhile, while this is happening, Richie abandons his parents in their trailer, Billy Glenn's brother,
right,
to go get grandma because his dad's like, forget grandma, she's already gone, and he's like, no, I want to go save grandma. At the retirement home, the Martians' brains unexpectedly explode when they hear grandma's playing. I've never heard of this guy, Slim Whitman, other than this movie. Mm-hmm. But it's a yodeling country song. And apparently it's the Martians' only weakness. When they hear it, their heads explode.
Right. right.
Something else the synopsis does not point out that I just want to point out is when they're doing the montage of
Mhm.
the Martians taking over all the cities and attacking everywhere, they
Mhm.
keep translating like the little machines they use to translate the Martian language. So they keep translating, "Don't run, we're friends. Don't run, we won't hurt you. Don't run, we come in
While they're
peace."
shooting,
While they're
right?
killing and destroying everything, and it's just so funny.
It's so good.
So yes, yodeling apparently is their weakness. At this point, Barbara, Byron, Cindy, and Tom Jones all reach Art's plane, but find the runway overrun with Martians. Byron buys time for his companions, and I can't think of the actor's name, but he was in Pulp Fiction. He's been in a few things, but he's cool. Anyway, I can't think of his name though. So he buys time by by boxing the Martians. At which point, after he beats the ambassador, they all jump on him, and seemingly he is dead. And he does not come. He will come back.
Yep.
At this point, Richie makes it to a radio station, and around the world, the Martians are being defeated as humans play Indian Love Call, which is the yodeling country. As the Martians at the helm of the mothership succumb to the song, Natalie and Kessler's disembodied heads share a kiss. His head falls on the ground, her head falls off of the Chihuahua, and they kiss on the floor, like just heads. In the aftermath of the war with the Martians, President Dale's teenage daughter, who is Natalie Portman, awards the Congressional Medal of Honor, which apparently is how our democracy works. President's daughter takes control.
Like a monarchy.
I mean, to be fair, you don't know what happened to the Supreme Court. All of Congress is dead.
Right.
It's a fair bet that the vice president was in Congress when it was killed. So I mean, there's not a whole lot left. But I'm pretty sure that the line of succession goes further than 3 down, which,
Right.
Whatever. Sure, Natalie Portman's in charge. She's given this is what's great. She's given the Congressional Medal of Honor, which, by the way, hint in the name, it's given by Congress
Right.
to Richie and Florence. It turns out Byron survived, and he shows up at his kid's house with to Pam Grier, and the movie goes to credits with Tom Jones singing "It's Not Unusual," which I just love Tom Jones in this movie, and that song works for me in this movie.
Right.
So, and scene. That is the worst synopsis. I highly maintain that I'd have been better off just trying to go from memory.
Really should have.
Bad. So anyway, that's the basic idea. And now, what are the big complaints?
Yeah, let's hear the big complaints.
So first on the list was overacting, bad acting. This showed up all over the place. And all I can say to that is, do you know what this movie was supposed to be? Because it's supposed to be a parody of the sci-fi flicks of the 50s and 60s.
Right.
Like Mystery Science Theater kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, this was done on purpose. The
really
overacting,
was.
the bad acting. Do you think that Jack Nicholson, I'm pretty sure he had won an Oscar, but if not, he should have. Do you really think he forgot how to act for this movie?
No.
I think it's pretty obvious that, this was supposed to be parody. What do you
It was very obvious that it was supposed to be a parody, and the people who can't understand that just I don't really know what to say about it. You know what I mean? Like it was supposed to be funny from the beginning. I mean, come on.
It seems pretty obvious that it's not supposed to be a film, but
right.
Whatever, people. Topic number 2, which spoiler, there's only 2 because mostly it was just people saying meh.
Mm-hmm.
But second topic, which the effects are overdone, used over and over again. Essentially, visually, it's boring.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, sure, you see the Martians fry humans a lot, and that visual effect is the same every time. And maybe it's just me, but I don't really see the problem with that. Mm-hmm. Again, it's funny. If you're watching an action flick, people are going to get shot right, and each time the effect is essentially the same. Bullet enters, you see blood, blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't call those movies visually boring. Also interesting, and this is not the fun facts, but it could have been. The first draft of this script and in the novelization, the Martians' raised guns did a lot of other stuff.
Right.
They had some graphic effects where like victims were bisected, body parts were cut off, huge holes blown through them. Some were melted, shredded, or turned into flame.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out to avoid an R rating, they had to cut all those out. So, A, I don't think it made it boring. And B, it wasn't their call. They had to take stuff out.
Right.
So the producers toned it down to the victims being reduced to skeletons, which kind of fit with the comedy anyway. But yeah, there was a lot more to see originally. But I see what they did because this movie wouldn't have worked as a rated R film.
Right.
And so yeah, I mean, thoughts on that?
What can you say? You know what I mean? Like, what can you say? It was supposed to be overdone. Does that make sense? It was supposed to be.
No, absolutely 100%. Again, you could almost say the same answer from our first complaint. This is parody.
Right.
This is parody of films that were even more ridiculous from the 50s. It came from outer space.
Right.
Basically, every sci-fi movie that ended up on Mystery Science Theater, like I said, that's what this was supposed to be. It was supposed to be that.
Exactly. I love this movie, and I think that anybody who has complaints about it, like trying to take it seriously, just need to go and get a life, because there's, what more can you say other than it was supposed to be super funny? It was supposed to be super silly, overdone, just absolutely nutty, like that's what it was. That's what the aesthetic was. And so I just don't understand people who want to complain about, you know what I mean? Like,
right. No, you're absolutely right. It feels sad that in a movie like this, we should have to point it out to people.
Right. Like it was supposed to be like that, dude.
And that was really it on the complaints. Like I said at the top of the show, most of the responses were just people going meh. And that does sadden me because the movie's hilarious.
Yeah,
it's great.
Funny.
It's fun. It's a popcorn flick, Right. It's not winning awards. It's not changing the world or taking on important social issues. It's just fun. Pokes fun of movie making, politicians, and I'm a big fan of Tim Burton, and that includes this film.
This movie was like so far out of Tim Burton's norm, though, and I think that threw a lot of people off. Because he is known for like dark animated films, and this one was really bright and kind of sunny.
Yeah, the theme of it is away from his, but the animation, not animation, but the effects and the filmography, like it was very much him.
Right.
The creature effects, I hesitate to say stop motion because it looked like stop motion a lot, but I don't think it was. But the animation effects, for lack of a better term, with the Martians, that is 100%.
Absolutely.
It's got Tim Burton all over it.
Absolutely.
So, are you ready for some fun facts?
I am.
There were quite a few for this one.
Give them to me.
The Martian girl that Lisa Marie played, the one who infiltrated the White House,
right?
To make her costume as smooth as possible, it had no zipper or buttons, and she had to be sewn into it every day.
Yes, that part I did know. I heard about that.
This one we talked about way before when we first started talking about doing this as an episode. The writers were not sure what the Martian should sound like, so as a placeholder, they put ack in the script.
Yeah.
Whether it's because they never got around to making it better, or someone just decided it was perfect, which it was. It stayed, but that was never the intention. Ack was a placeholder.
Really?
Yes.
So they just rolled with it?
Either they just rolled with it, or someone heard it and said, no, that's it.
What?
But it was written ack as a placeholder.
That's amazing.
Did it, though?
That is amazing.
In case you didn't have enough reasons to like Tim Burton, this one's a good one. So Tim Burton called Pam Grier and asked her to fly to Los Angeles for an audition. She said she wanted to, but she couldn't because her dog was terminally ill. She had to take care of her dog. He called her back several times, and eventually decided that he called her back several times. She was never able to make it out there. He eventually decided that she had already auditioned by not leaving her dog, since her character in the movie refused. So Pam Grier got the job because her dog was sick and she wouldn't leave him.
Really? Wow, that's good.
Tim Burton is awesome.
He is an awesome guy. So I've heard anyway.
Big nerdy goth guy. I mean,
right.
Jonathan Jims, which was one of the writers, did not realize that the Mars Attacks bubblegum cards, that's what this movie came from, by the way, is the little Tops bubblegum cars. He didn't realize they had a story on the back until he wrote the script using his own original story. So
really?
There was a story already pre-made that they could have used.
Wow. Look at that.
Yeah, like the Tops cards, like, they had these, they had the Garbage Pail Kids were those cards at first.
Mm-hmm.
They were big in when we were youngins. Here's a funny one that we mentioned. I told you about this one this morning. Tim Burton was told repeatedly by the studio he could not kill off Jack Nicholson's character in a movie. Big Oscar winner Jack Nicholson, you can't kill him off.
Right.
So Tim Burton decided to cast Nicholson in 2 roles and then to kill both of them off. Which I just think is hilarious.
It is kind of hilarious.
You can't kill Jack Nicholson, man. Fine. You know what? Bet I'm going to give him 2 roles and I'm going to kill them both.
Right. Goodbye.
And then finally, our final fun fact. This is the last theatrically released movie in which Michael J. Fox physically appeared.
Yeah, that's true. I remember that.
Yeah, he's done numerous television shows as some voice acting, but has not physically appeared in a theatrical movie until 2019 when he came back. Which actually ties into our fun facts from The Frighteners, which was the last movie he worked on, but this film was after.
Right.
So, I mean, that's going to bring us to an end. And it's a really quick episode, which happens with these that we're both like, I don't even understand what you're talking about.
Right.
It also happens when there's a cat completely trying to climb up into my lap.
Is that what's going on right now?
Yes, every few seconds.
Well, which one is it?
Which one is it always? It's Harley, who's now
It's
in my
always
lap
Harley.
on camera. So if you're watching on YouTube, you get to see our cat. So yeah, that brings us to an end. momthulu, where can the fine folks find you?
Well, I mean, here on the Jesters Court every Sunday night. They can find me there. You can also find me Monday mornings on my podcast called The Innsmouth Rag. You can find that anywhere you get your Apple Podcasts because we do that together, don't we?
We do it together, and it's also not just Apple Podcasts.
Oh, I said anywhere you get your podcast, ding dong.
You said your Apple Podcasts.
Oh, oops.
Mm-hmm.
My bad.
Mm-hmm. Also, special treat for the YouTube watchers. The cat, as it ran away, has knocked my green screen askew. So,
good job, Harley.
Yeah, nice. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at the Jesters Court Pod, or I'm sorry, at Jesters Court Pod. No, the
right.
Sorry, I'm completely skewed by the cat. So yeah, give us a like, give us a follow. You two also can, obviously, if you're listening to this, anywhere where podcasts can be found. Next week, we will be doing either Ghostbusters 2016 or Cabin Fever. I say either because Mr. Wally Phelps, who we've been trying to get on the show to talk about Ghostbusters, he's hard to get down for a time. So we're definitely going to get him this season, hopefully sometime in the next week so we can do it for next week's show. But if not, me and momthulu are going to talk about Cabin Fever.
Yeah, stealing Cabin Fever from me, I see.
Stealing. It's been on my look list for a while.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I don't know that actually. I was just lying. But shut up. Never mind.
Stealing it. We can do both. We've done it before.
Whatever.
This will be us talking about how it's worth watching, and then we'll do Innsmouth where we talk about all the stupid stuff. It'll be great. It'll be like 2 sides of the coin.
Sure.
And join us also next week on Innsmouth, speaking of which, where we're going to talk about Insidious 2.
Insidious 2. Can't wait to do it.
The Return.
It's not The Return. It's just Insidious Chapter 2. You're weird.
I just made that up, so.
I noticed.
Thank you, everybody. Join us next week.
and have a good night.
Bye.